All right, so if you're going to be doing an Instagram Live, first off, learn two things today. One is don't use Chromecast, use HDMI cable. The other one is you have to get the camera, I guess. Everybody likes to watch it, but straight up instead of like sideways. Strange because I come from the landscape era.
If it's not live, you should move the garbage.
This is my first social media casting. Never done this.
Is it casting?
Nice.
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. Okay, so I'm going to put up a video.
It's not happening, bro.
What's that?
Anyone else on it?
Is that?
Okay, go for it.
It's good?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to play a little video for you guys first. This is my friend Barack. He's actually a very famous church DJ with 6.5 million followers. Came to me one day about 2 years ago and told me he wanted to go to space. And most people, I would say, like, you're nuts and crazy, but I thought like, well, when would be a good time to actually do this? Figured, in the future, probably something, so invested, and we believe, like, music is actually a very, very big part of life, so this is kind of what he had put together for us. I'm just going to show it to you.
Our future life can be everything we imagine, and even things we can't. Built from the memories we make today, and the surprises we find tomorrow. That life can be ours. Just say, one day. And one day might come sooner than you think. Life World Tour.
So it's pretty cool. Barack has actually been touring around the world with this huge 50-foot statue that he already built and a space capsule. And it's actually got life on it. So you've been actually looking like music is actually a huge part of life. This culture's music is a very, very important part of life. So what's kind of sad, like Barack actually couldn't go to space this time because I think he went for capsule testing and his tooth burst because of the pressure. So he had to fly back to So Barack, all of you wish you could have made it to Miami, but hey, I didn't speak there. It was in the living room, so it actually worked out okay a bit. It's funny how coincidences kind of happen. So it's quite, you really have to appreciate how much work, the event staff put in. Usually what I do is I just go on stage, I wear my suit, I don't really have to do anything. But now I realize there's a lot of work actually involved in getting this stuff ready. So I just want to thank the event production staff, everybody for doing everything. Unfortunately, kind of due to some bad actors, the event did not go as well as we thought. So I think it's important to always kind of know where you came from. You got to be thankful for kind of where we are today in technology. And Steve Jobs' hero line. He's the only true entrepreneur that I really, really believed didn't care about money so much and really just cared about building product, right? So he had a very, very famous saying that, here's to the crazy ones, right? And when he died in 2011, it's the only time I actually felt like I cried. I actually felt like we lost somebody because he was such an inspiration. Every single product we use today, it was an iPhone. And a big part of the inspiration of when I built Life was just really focusing on the user. But we're in such a different generation now of crypto, and I think the younger generation now hasn't really been educated in kind of how we even got here in the first place. So there's a famous saying, honor thy father and mother, but you should also honor the people that built the industry kind of early on, the Intels, the Microsofts, the Yahoos, the Googles, the Apples. Like, Apple was 90 days away from bankruptcy. Steve Jobs came back and saved it. I think a lot of people in this generation don't know that. So there's a couple of movies and everything I think that you guys should actually kind of catch up to really kind of understand where the philosophy of kind of how to build life is. Because I had a life actually before crypto, right? But what's interesting is life has a funny way of coming full circle. I mean, the most exciting part about this weekend was, I started this thing with $500. One of my investors, like all my earliest investors, people that supported me before I was even in crypto. My friend Junior, I used to fix his dad's computer and printer when I was driving a Honda Odyssey. Had to take my kids to school. It was freezing, like I would go to school in Montessori at like 6 a.m. And I remember just sitting in the car the whole time. I would be on my computer freezing my ass off programming, and then you just start hearing about, you'd get inspired from all the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. This person created this company, raised this much money with this VC, etc. And then at some point I was like, if you hang out with successful people and you look up to people that have very, very good moral backgrounds, they family oriented. Yeah, sure. Even if they're degenerates, they kind of go to party. Like at the end of the day, there's always two sides to everything. There's the yin and the yang. There's the good and the bad. There's God. There's the devil. Like good and evil is actually in all of us, and that's kind of what I really, really learned about my journey in crypto. Is that you can't be too good and you can't be too bad, but you kind of have to be balanced in your life, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to money, sometimes people they get greedy. It's happened to me, it's happened to all of us, but as you get older, this is why investing is so different than trading. And I didn't understand this, 47 now. But if you think about this, when you're 20 years old, if I tell you wait 4 years, that's a quarter of your life. That's a long freaking time. But when you're 47 and I tell you to wait 4 years, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's like what? Not even like, it's less than like 10%. So this is why a lot of people didn't understand why I built life. Because most of the people that are younger, in their 30s, they don't have the financial experience and wisdom. So what I always recommend people do is invest more in what you can do for people to kind of learn from them versus, hey, what's in it for me? So how I would say I got lucky is I had nothing to really offer except, hey, I knew a bunch of beautiful women and I knew how to party. So all of my friends that were successful guys, I would take them out to parties, I would create some guys. So it was kind of like a trade in a sense. I got to hang out with some of the smartest people in the world, really, really cool, some and everything. And in exchange, my dream one day was like, these guys are all my heroes because these are the ones, entrepreneurs are the guys that every day, like, there's no win, lose, or draw. It's like do or die, right? There's a lot of the stories that you don't hear about. You only hear about the successes, but you never hear about 99% of failures because they either die or they drop off. And that's the part that I don't think people really, really kind of appreciate. I mean, because at the end of the day, life, you have success and you have failure, right? But for me, I think the journey to get here today it's kind of coming full circle, really, really for me, and why I built life in the first place. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. I think it's important that, I wasn't always rich, wealthy, like just like everybody, just like you, but I love what I do and, love people. I love to enjoy my life. I like free life, and I love being able to travel the world. I love meeting new people, and I love what crypto has actually done for me. I love how, when I started Bitcoin, this is exactly what was incredible yesterday. Even though, like, that bullshit that happened yesterday was the best thing that happened to me because I get to be myself. I don't have to, like, pretend. I can actually just show people that, hey, this guy is what he did. Expose the bad people. And I think that's what's special about crypto is everything's on the blockchain, so you can't hide from it, right? You can't hide from it. So there's so many good people in crypto that haven't even gone into crypto yet, and the reason they're not in it is because they're tired of getting scammed, they get tired of getting rugged and everything else. And I'm going to share with you why I actually built LIF in the first place. Right? So I got into Bitcoin back in 2013. Started $500. It's a big arbitrage trader. We ended, like, I used to buy Bitcoin in Canada, especially in Canada, sell in the US, buy it in China, sell in the US. So it was an amazing like trading opportunity. That's when all my friends that ran venture capital funds, they started to see like, hey, we don't understand this Bitcoin thing, but we believe in you. So having people that believe in you as a person is actually the most powerful thing because they help manifest your future. And honestly, I wouldn't be here without all the people that support me, Nadeem, Mateo, Tim Chang, Brini, Theodore, the list kind of goes on. It's funny because we started actually the first hedge fund in all of Pioneer Financial back in 2013, and we were tiny, but what happened was we were scrappy, we were very, very efficient, but we got stuff done. And the number one thing that we actually did was we built trust. And if you did an ICO between 2017 and 2018, there's a 15 to 20% chance that your trades were through us. So I was fortunate enough I got to invest in amazing projects like EOS, Block, Cardano, Ethereum, everybody kind of early on. And then what was nice is you really, really felt that sense of community, right? But I found like that group, a lot of the guys, they kind of didn't really look at like what's going on in DeFi. Like a lot of the early Bitcoin and Ethereum guys didn't really kind of look towards the future. So for me, that's kind of how where the past really kind of like diverged a little bit, because I always wanted to create something, but I didn't want to create something unless there was a purpose. There's no point of creating a token, because back in 2017, everybody's like, Harry, why did you create a token? I'm like, I'm running a hedge fund. Like, I'm a better trader. Why would I create a token? Like, there's no reason for us. I'm better investing. Like, I can't think of a reason why I would actually like buy one actually like create one from scratch. I'd have to have a purpose, and I just didn't. It just wasn't the right time. And in business, and I think any opportunity for success, 50% is timing, 25% is team, 25% is the product. So I believe really, really the time is now for DeFi, but it's like version 2 of DeFi. Very similar to like the first generation of the internet, where you had it was just Amazon and email, but you didn't have all like the viruses or all its security issues. And now we have that same problem with blockchain. We have, and I'm going to show this. This is actually why I created it. Okay, so just so everybody knows, this is because I had a lot more time today. I figured everybody wanted to ask me like what LIF is. LIF isn't just a token; it's a whole ecosystem. This is why it took us 3 years to build. Right? It's a platform. It's a platform that other things can connect into, but it's also a brand. It's a brand that's designed to be on other blockchains as well, so that when people go to a blockchain like Solana, Ethereum, Phantom, they know that they're interacting with a trusted brand on that chain, even though there's bad actors on the chain. This is why LIF was actually created in the first place. But to optimize for performance, what happens is if you want to run LIF on, let's just say Phantom AB chain, no problem, but it's completely optimized to run on our own blockchain. And this is why, if you look at Apple, we've literally taken Apple's philosophy of vertical integration, and I'm going to go into this, like exactly what LIF is. So welcome to LIF. What is LIF? Well, if you've been in Tube for a while, there's this meme. So actually, LIF really, really started off as a meme. And if you look at this, it's like LIF is Tube and Tube is LIF. You're like, what the hell does that mean? The genesis of the meme actually came from Tube, and I'll explain that in the Tube presentation. But for now, just kind of remember, like this is kind of like the thing. Like, just remember that LIF and death are kind of like the same thing, black and white. So they're kind of like two opposites of the same coin, of like the same coin. But the reality is, I saw something very, very beautiful in Tool, but then I realized by itself, once it gets to a certain size, if you don't have something to balance it, it will just kind of blow up when the conditions of the entire market are really, really, really bad, and then it'll just kind of crash. And that's exactly kind of what it did. So what I want you guys to know is I fell victim also to the addiction of tube and greed. So I'm going to, when I go to the tube slide, I'm going to have a huge warning. I'm going to tell you guys, like, you really, really, really have to kind of understand like what tube is. Like when you understand what it is, it's the most amazing thing, which is why the community is the best community in all of crypto you find. And it's so hardcore, but there's a reason. Okay. So LIF was born at the beginning of the bear market in like 2022 in June. So this might not make sense to you guys, but I'm just telling you guys, like first, to give a little bit of history and background. T-share emissions were ending, and T-share was this yield farming token that incentivized people to put liquidity into types of blockchain. So what would happen is T-share, you have an opportunity to actually buy something, stake it in this thing called a masonry, and every 6 hours, if the price of Tomb hit 1.01 phantom, it would hit 1% of the supply. By the way, that's where the slogan Tomb is Life came from. Imagine having to answer that, hey, Tomb is a senior project. It emits 1% every 6 hours, 1.01% when the sorry, 1% every 6 hours when the ratio hits 1.01. You lose your mind. So it was just easier to just come up with like, you know, the saying, and then we say read the docs. That was like a classic. So the opportunity to actually launch a project within DeFi that's maturing over an 8-year period. And why I picked 8 years is if you look at Silicon Valley, most projects, Facebook, Google, all of these things started in the garage, somebody's home, and then it took them 4 to 5 years. 3 years is kind of really when the product starts happening, and then 4 to 5 years, we're in the 3rd year now. So this is the most exciting part because the product is ready. And then you see exponential growth. You just pile more capital in. So, and then you also have to wait for the right timing. The time is right now. The US got the best president now. The king's back. So I wanted to really, really build something. Like, running hedge funds and everything was great. But for me, I've always been an engineering and a product guy. But I love trading. So how do you choose between the two? So the beautiful thing about crypto is you get to do both. And the biggest reason now, my purpose of why I wanted to create a token and I wanted to create a project that I control and my team, people that believe in our vision, is because of what happened with Terra Luna, FTX, bear market. I mean, I lost 65 million in a single day. It just, even kind of going back and seeing the nightmares of how the whole thing kind of unfolded in DeFi. That problem never got addressed by anybody, by the way. Nobody has addressed the problem. And the reason nobody's actually addressed the problem is you're not incentivized to fix the problem because most blockchains right now inherently, their only utility for the token is gas. So you're incentivized to have as many transactions running on the blockchain as possible. And I kind of discovered this back then. So right now, essentially what happens is there's a ton of volatility on the blockchain. The price of gas will spike because there's smart contracts that are built into the blockchain or they've been deployed on the blockchain very, very, very early. These are extremely sophisticated contracts that only people that have the knowledge of building blockchain, solidity, and there's not that many of these people in the world. Like, you have to really, really have deep knowledge. I mean, I can do this. Because I tried to figure out, like, how does this stuff work? So all the flash loans, these are like very, very specialized domain expertise. You can plug this up into ChatGPT. I'll share it with you guys. It's very, very sophisticated. I'm going to show you some of the, this slide is a bit more technical, but I think it's important to share the technical because a lot of people still don't understand why I created a curated blockchain. I'm going to show you why. So right now what happens if the market goes super up or super down, it's very, very, very hard to get get executed on most blockchains. Even Solana. How many of you here have noticed that even Solana with memes and even Ethereum, busy networks, gas price goes up and you can't use the network. So imagine when the entire market dumps, there's a big event. That's what happened with Terra Luna. Terra Luna, I couldn't get up for 2 days. So imagine just being stuck there and watching the thing like kind of go down for 2 days. Well, that terrifies most people. And I've been through it. I've written projects up to like, from $0 to $4 back to like 0, right? But what was the best thing about going through that experience was, would you lose $1 billion to learn how to make, $1 trillion? Yes. So for me, it's like, would you lose $1 million to make 100 million? Yes, because that's a 1% risk. But in this case, what I saw with Tomb and what happened with the whole blockchain ecosystem was really a way to kind of revolutionize and really kind of show people that I believe this is the future forward of blockchain, and I really have like 2-3 year head start on everybody else because nobody has really even looked at this. So the main reason I built Life, I was just sick and tired of getting scammed like that. Fucking tired of it. Okay, like, what was it? So many evil projects, all went on, except for Tomb. Tomb wasn't on until I actually bought it. It's like my favorite project. And I think it was, Tomb was one of the main reasons I wanted to put on like Phantom Developer Conference as well. And I discovered a lot of stuff with Tomb. I mean, I would have never looked that deeply into Tomb, like at a contract level, but that's the first time I experienced front money. I think I sold about $1 million worth of T-shares to support the price of Tomb. And then, I'm gonna go back and find the transaction share with you guys, but I believe the entire network stopped, Phantom stopped, like gas got jacked for like 10,000, you couldn't sell. And then when you came back, it's like, hey, you got this much, you think you're supposed to get $1 million and you get $500,000 instead. So imagine 50% slippage, but for a trade that's supposed to be only 20 cents, you get front run. So then I started looking at this and I'm like, how is this possible? And then I started reading about MEV attacks. I started reading about sandwich attacks, front running, all of these things. And there's just so much of this stuff out there. There's a multi-chain hack that happened. It was like $300 million. Like, still hasn't been addressed. They say lawyers dealing with it, but I mean, I don't know. And the strangest thing that I noticed too was when I looked at, like originally, like I hadn't been running Phantom validator nodes for a while. We used to run about 60% of like the Phantom validator nodes, I think back around the Phantom before Terra Luna. And I just looked at the Phantom blockchain like recently, even the validator nodes and everything else. There's only like 18 validator nodes on Phantom right now, since the Sonic upgrade. And the one thing that I thought was very strange was that I thought Sonic was an in-place upgrade for Phantom, but it turns out like they're two totally separate chains. So I'm not sure if it's the same thing. I haven't looked at it, but then someone brought it to my attention that there's two separate chains, and there's no history of Phantom on Sonic. And okay, so that's the reason kind of why I moved off why I created Life was just you can't build house on foundation of sand. For me, it was just very frustrating. I would do really well with something, and then something else would happen. So it almost felt like no matter how hard we worked on Phantom, we're just getting fucked all the time. And the multi-chain thing was just the last straw. I can't build a successful like project on Phantom. Not that because I don't love Phantom, it's just because there's so much bullshit that keeps happening. Like there's no other chain that got fucked by multi-chain. Or, I don't know, not as much. Like, it was the most. So anyhow, I was just kind of tired of it. And I said, you know what? We have to migrate to Ethereum. And I mean, look, I just kind of copied what Phantom did. Phantom's actual original token is actually based off of Ethereum anyways. So you have to move from Ethereum to Phantom and Phantom to Ethereum to Sonic, which means that you have to bridge. Phantom controls the bridge. Multi-chain layer 0 doesn't control the bridge. So it's all kind of like really complicated stuff. But today I'm going to actually show you an example of what front running is. This is kind of more technical. I will kind of explain this, but I'm going to run through this actually quite quickly. So when I created a liquidity pool, do you guys know what liquidity pools are on DeFi? When you create a liquidity pool, it's I need to add a pair. So when I add a pair, you can't exactly get like the best price when you add the pair. You kind of approximate, but what I did is I actually watched as I created this liquidity pair. It's a brand new pair. It was actually, I believe it was a T-shirt and mine was a stable coin that was collateralized. That's like a different headache, but we'll talk about that today. So one T-shirt was equal to $8,700 before. Within 3 seconds of me adding this liquidity pair, it got arbitraged out, which means this thing is either built in the blockchain or it's built at the contract, like someone deployed a contract, and these are everywhere, right? So here's the transactions. You guys can kind of take a look. So you can see here, like within like 1 minute, this thing, it gets like arb out like so quickly. Right, so these are like more for the nerds to kind of look at. But I thought it was important to kind of put it aside because people really want to know technically why did I build this. I built this so that it's impossible to put this shit on LIF3 or any product that is associated with LIF. So even Chain that runs on Phantom, you cannot do this, right? And if that exists, it means there's an issue. Either only I did it because we don't allow every single contract that gets like put onto any of our chains has to be reviewed by a team before it gets deployed. And even on LIF3's testnet, we allowed our vendors and everything else. Just even allowing 2 or 3 different vendors on the testnet, it's like hundreds of contracts. And I'm just like, how is this possible? Right? So I only, even on the LIF3 mainnet, right now that's the alpha, there's literally like 6 contracts because we completely locked down. We wouldn't let any of our vendors, so what we've realized is to keep the network pure, you read, not allowing contract deployments is absolutely critical, right? Because if you allow contracts on, and this is going to happen in the future too, where we're going to be able to allow contracts to be turned on and off. This is done kind of like at the blockchain, like the consensus node level. But for now, whitelisting is kind of like the simple way of doing it. So like I said, I'm just going to run through this. But yeah, so that's why I created LIF3. I was just tired of getting scammed and front run. So I figured, okay. And I'm thinking 8 years in the future, 5 years in the future, 3 years in the future. So like I said, I'm a bit older, so for me, I'm more patient. A lot of the guys that are 20, 30, think they're all amazing traders, don't realize that they're fish in a pool with sharks and they're the fish. So just understand this, that you guys aren't the apex predators in the space. Bigger fish wait and eat you. So just understand that. So LIF is a DeFi ecosystem. It includes 3 tokens: LIF, L-Share, L3USD, which I'm going to go into detail a little bit more. It started off really as kind of a yield farming project to kind of continue on to, because T-shirt issues were ending, and I wanted to give something for people that had something to do while the market recovered. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And I think within 5 months of us launching LIF, we figured out that, okay, consumer DeFi was really what we want to focus on. We want to make every single person in the world that wants to participate in DeFi be able to download a mobile app, use a blockchain, know that they're not going to get run, scammed, anything else. And at the end of the day, that they're kind of in this little pocket on the internet that's kind of curated. What we discovered is this little pocket now is growing. People are just tired of getting scammed. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing about people losing money. I'm just tired of it, right? And and I'm gonna get the 2 because the two part is like my favorite, right? So again, life, longer term potential is like the best. Like, I mean, if you had a chance to invest in Apple back in just before they went 9 days bankruptcy with Bill Gates, if you look back on it now, raise your hands if you would have invested in Apple knowing what you know now about Steve Jobs. Raise your hands. 100% of the people in this room, because what did Steve Jobs do? He took Apple, that was a publicly traded bloated company that had a bunch of crap, and then he slimmed it down to the iMac, then he came with the iPhone and everything else, and that's exactly what we believe is happening in blockchain right now. Is there's just too much stuff out there, but to build a proper ecosystem, you really, really need to like take your time, find the right partners, build the software properly, and then really kind of showcase it to people. But more importantly, it's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. You have to build it, you know, with integrity, and you have to have a purpose and a vision of why you're actually doing it in the first place. So for me, I just want a safe place for all my friends, people I care about, to be able to experience DeFi. That's it. That's kind of how this all started. So it's going to be yield farming, DeFi swap, layer 1 blockchain, the game of life, Opal Wallet, game of 2. L3 reserved, so as you see, the game of 2, it's a subset of the life ecosystem. So understand that Tool is part of life, okay? Even though life was born, the idea literally came from Tool. It's kind of like, okay, well, in software development, it's kind of like an iterative project. You get an idea, and you have to make a pivot, then you improve, and then you kind of go back. And that's exactly kind of what's happening, because life is kind of encompassing everything. It's like this big foundation for a house, and Tool is just a game that sits on top of the life ecosystem. All right. L3 Reserve is kind of our stable asset, stablecoin type project, because we were experimenting with stables and collateralized lending, but it's kind of a whole different beast. So I'll talk a little bit about L3 Reserve, and then memes are a very, very, very important part of culture now in crypto, so you can't ignore them. But then I thought, okay, I don't really understand memes yet, so I need time to really kind of absorb versus just chasing. Chasing is kind of how you lose money. So it's better to be involved, observe, and then when you have a plan, execute. And we have that for and other projects that we acquired on Phantom. These are all not part of like the life ecosystem, but we're going to categorize these and really, really put them with the book of life, because T-Bone, Fanti, Zoo, Gift. I mean, there was no way when I started, when we took over T-Bone, Fanti, and Zoo, that life didn't even exist yet. So when people ask me, what about T-Bone? What about Fanti? I'm like, well, okay, we're in a bear market, so what would you like me to do? Where's our airdrop? Where's our airdrop? I'm like, okay, you want an airdrop? No problem. I'll make you an airdrop on LifeChain, send it to you, then you're gonna ask me when liquidity. So it's like, I don't want to tell people that you're asking a stupid question, but it's a pretty fucking stupid question. I can give you an airdrop, then you're just gonna bitch at me about liquidity. Until there's liquidity, I'm not doing any airdrops because I want to give something that actually provides value. Okay, so thank you for bringing that up, so that yesterday, because I had to explain to people why. I would have loved to do it on time, but it wasn't the right time. So if something's not the right time, timing is everything. And you only get one shot, right? You only get one shot at doing stuff. Otherwise, you're going to write it to zero. And I don't wish I would write to zero again. So T-Bone, Fanti, Zoo, Geef, all of these, they are part of the life ecosystem. But they're going to be probably more like along the side, like Book of Life kind of encompasses everything, and that's like a different slide. So, okay, so what is LifeChain? LifeChain is a curated L1, but what we didn't really tell anybody, because what I want to do, like if I tell people, you're not going to understand anyways, and then you just ask, like, what's up with the price? So I find it's better to wait until you have everything kind of together. And I wanted to kind of give like an announcement, like the thing yesterday, but yeah, this actually worked out better because it was a lot more that I realized. So everything that happened perfectly. LifeChain, actually, the plan is, right now we have an alpha network, and the difference between a permissionless networks and permission networks Curated is considered permission, but it's a less draconian word for saying permission. It's curated, so we only want to pick the best stuff. We have an alpha network, which is what everybody's on right now. And the reason we have this alpha network is we also have to test curated contracts, how it works, security level, but we have to have the nodes. So that's the only difference, is that the alpha network allows us to test stuff on validator nodes, voting, all of these things. In most blockchains, they just have testnet at production. And then mainnet, we have testnet, alpha mainnet, and we're going to have auto mainnet. So auto mainnet is where all of our partners, we're going to announce vendors that have actually already signed up for running validator nodes. And the main reason why we call it auto, not because we're going to fall, but it's to honor our friend Autumn Radke, who you're very savvy after the Mount Gox thing. She took her own life. So it was it was a very, very traumatic experience for kind of like all of us. So this blockchain really, really kind of, talked to my partners and when I think it was right to kind of dedicate this to her. She was very lovely. She was one of the people that told me about Bitcoin kind of early on. So that is that. So Autumn's going to get released probably in the fall. And the unique thing about LIF3, what we want to do is make sure that the chains are always clean. So it's really designed more as an infrastructure network, which means we're not going to be deploying too many projects on it. Only tokens, so it's always as fast as what you see. But then you're going to have layer 2 as a service. So for example, if iGaming or games want to actually run, you spin up a layer 2, and the layer 2 bridges effectively with the layer 1 infrastructure networks. That's really, really kind of what we focus, because we're thinking of very, very, very long-term growth. Because if you run everything on the L1, at some point, you're going to hit that point where you can't scale. And for me, scale is one of the most important things. So product demonstration, I think, has everybody here has downloaded the wallet yesterday? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, if you're online, I guess, I don't know how we would do this online, because I want to just pick a random person that is on Discord or Telegram with an address, and then I just send it to them just to kind of show them how fast it really is. So let's see. Does anybody this is interesting. How many minutes are we in right now?
$40.
40? That was 40 minutes already. Wow. Jeez, that was my fast. Okay, so the product demonstration, I guess it's pretty tough to do a product demo online, right? So I guess, you know what we'll do is we'll have the mods set up a time for a couple of users, and then we can do another live stream just to really kind of demo that. We'll do that today, because it's kind of going on for a little bit. So kind of really, really important to think about LIF3 is that LIF is also a movement. It's not just about crypto, it's kind of brand, it's kind of like a way of life. It's kind of like what happened yesterday, right? What happened, it's just like good things happen, bad things happen, and then you just kind of deal with it. Really, really excited. Community is probably the most important thing. I would not have built this or continue to do this, the amount of suffering, the amount of money I had to spend, but totally worth it. Because, you only really appreciate success and amazing things when bad things happen to you. The community of LIF3, it's amazing. The last 24 hours, everybody's kind of gotten together, and there is a human at the end of every single account. People respect the fact that, hey, I need to sleep, let me sleep. I'd say, hey, need 24 hours, everybody be nice. And it's funny, the chat rooms are quiet today. It's not like crickets, but people are talking about bubble tea. They're talking about, what's happening today? There's the planetary alignments or something. There's so these to me, community is the most important thing, but if you're the founder, you're one of the biggest investors in the project, and you just see people bitching and complaining all the time, you're kind of like, you know what, you kind of shut it off. But here's the problem, you shut it off, you can't, it's like a catch-22. People want to know what's going on, but because they're invested in it, but there's so much negative energy there. So what I think I discovered yesterday is we're going to create channels where people can vote, because negative feedback is very, very important to you. Learn a lot of things from negative feedback. It's just when the negative feedback is like attacks on people, names, it's not constructive. And you know, I want intelligent responses. Some of these people, when they respond, I'm like, did you go to school, or did you like how are you raised? Like, you know, there's got to be respect. I think first off, that's very, very, very important. You know, I'm anti like bullying online, all of this stuff. So now, like, I mean, that's just what happened. Like, you know what? I hate bullies. So if you say anything shitty to me, you've deleted your message history. I'm still gonna share with other people. You talk shit. So community, I want to build a community where there's no toxic behavior, right? Because if you put this out, you're gonna get it back, right? It's just, this is kind of how the universe balances itself. And why this is so important is, this is the year of authenticity, right? And to me, in cryptocurrency, now, the real currency that's important, it's not attention, that's in the past, right? Market caps, volume, most of the volume of crypto is fake. It's all fake, centralized, it's all fake. Even in DeFi, it's fun, it's cheap to run transactions. Like, I tested a lot of this stuff, most of it's fake. Even account growth, all this stuff, most of it's fake. Because when you really, really go out there and really, like, grassroots try to build stuff, you realize how difficult it is to get 1,000, 10,000 users. I mean, yesterday it was amazing. I think we got like maybe 30, 40 users, but that's just because people are gathered in a small amount, in a small group. But once you give it to a bunch of people, see a great product, that's how it grows. That's how Bitcoin really, really first started. That's why this is so exciting. So to me, the most important thing right now is trust and authenticity. That if that's not, you don't be part of this project. But this is kind of what we want. This is why I built LIF in the first place. So enjoy life, you know. I mean, my friend's Pure Gasly, 504, it's awesome. I get to, you know, I love racing. Best part is combining work with play. So isn't it great that, you know, we get to be part of F1, MotoGP, these are things that I couldn't do when I was younger. I didn't have the money to like race motorcycles and drive Formula 1 cars. But now that I'm older, I can still be a part of it by supporting them and their dreams, right? You know, Formula 1, you know, you get to like, DJ, you get to like hang out with the best DJs, you know, Artbad, you know, Rambat, Tailbus, all these guys get to go to the coolest parties, you know, Barack, you know, Sasha, you get to meet the coolest people. And to me, what's really, really unique about LIF that no other crypto project really has, it's culture. And at the end of the day, you want to be part of something when it's cool. So for me, I wanted something that, you know, at 6 a.m., if I want to go party, I can have fun, I can. If I want to go back to work, I can. So for me, I live life every single day. And there's a famous saying that I think Steve Jobs says, if you live it every day like it's your last, you'll almost certainly be right. So for me, this is why I built this project, because I love to work and I love to play. And we're going to play after this. But first, I've got to go through some of the more fun stuff. This is something. So probably the most, there's two super exciting like partnerships that, you know, we did that I wanted to announce. Most of you guys may or may not have heard about the Jamba phone. Jamba phone is really, really, really cool. It's the $99 smartphone. We met the guys, you know, James, you know James and you know, his team, Sam, whatever, and they had this incredible phone right here. And if you take a look, you can't really tell the difference, right? But this is $1,000 and this is $99, right? And the performance is really, really cool. It's like a version 2 of the phone. It's designed really, really kind of for like the emerging market, Brazil, you know, in South America now, half the time. But the coolest part is there's going to be over 1 million phones that are going to be distributed. We'll have the LIF wallet already pre-installed, and we're going to airdrop millions of dollars with tokens onto the network, so you have network effect. Right away. It's actually quite exciting because if you saw what happened yesterday, imagine that, 1 million, 10 million. So this is really, really kind of the vision we're thinking of. And it's a beautiful phone. It's light, but what's really, really exciting is, they were pretty busy, but we've talked to them about building a light phone. Okay? So to me, Steve Jobs says people that love software build their own hardware. And my boy Nadine here, he built Basis, which was the first wearable before the Apple Watch. I think it's out there for like $140 or something. It's crazy. But it was so cool. So what's happening now is vertical integration means, okay, so what's amazing with the Java phone is it's the first generation LIF3 phone. But the LIF phone, it's really just focused on what I believe is all you need for the best experience in the LIF ecosystem. So it's curated. So you have a curated smartphone, so security, all of these things. So it's really, really, really exciting. As we get more information on the specs and whatnot, this will be kind of more of a higher end phone, probably like a 299, 499 because we want higher screen, eSIMs, this kind of thing. But we'll kind of release a little bit more details. But we've just started talking about this. And Michael Gord from TD Capital, how are you? Come up.
Let's go.
So Michael has been a long-time friend. I think you. Michael's a long-time friend, and a lot of you guys have probably seen there's another app called LIF in the App Store. What's really, really cool is you have a friend. Our good friend actually has it. We found this an incredible partnership, and LIF is actually going to be taking the name and brand assets of LIF, and then LIF, the project, the software is actually going to become flashy, and they're one of our main partners for the on-ramp, off-ramp. So, did you want to talk anything about the partnership? Yes.
Yeah, so for the past few years, I actually acquired this business. I didn't come up with the name myself. So it just happened that we ended up with the same brand name, but we've been building out DeFi infrastructure for the past, including the acquisition, since we acquired it in 2021. And the software's been building since 2019. So now you put this robust suite of DeFi, decentralized finance infrastructure, and rather than us go to market, and we do have a consumer application which we're going to continue to develop, and actually we have got very similar thesis in terms of how we want to approach the market, but really where we want to separately from the crypto.coms and other big DeFi companies, we want to provide our decentralized finance as a service, digital banking infrastructure as a service to other platforms that want to integrate, want to turn on decentralized finance rails immediately without needing to spend years building out software. So we've closed a number of deals with social applications that have in the millions of users. We'll be providing their back-end decentralized finance rails, digital banking rails, and our objective is to power any number of platforms that want to have, for a lot of social applications, especially seed stage, your core business is looking to acquire users, not build out digital banking. So we already have all this infrastructure, and we can provide it to them from our end for free. We just want to be acquiring users. So it's really natural progression to partner with Harry, because outside of LIF, my core business has been working with and building businesses from this stage of LIF up to multi-billion-dollar market capitalizations. My start with venture was I was the first person Tron brought on when they delisted from Chinese exchanges, and that's to give their capital back to Chinese investors at a $20 million market capitalization. And I saw the story, among others, of Tron expanding internationally and going from a very small user base to a very large user base by onboarding lots of applications over and over, creating massive awareness, integrating into culture. And I think of the stage that LIF's at is something that, in addition to us being able to accelerate the DeFi adoption and the distribution of LIF through the decentralized finance as a service and our on and off ramp business model, the whole ecosystem that I've been building over the past decade with dozens of businesses that have all kinds of traction in various niches, for us to be able to now integrate layer one that we've got, that we're a really key partner in, is super exciting for us, and something that I think can really move the needle quickly for LIF. In addition to all the things that, I mean, we want to be back with founders that are working with founders that are going to do it or can do it themselves. And if we can provide an accelerated path, and if we can be, helping to turn on jet fuel and bring more businesses faster, then for us that's a win-win-win. So yeah, really excited about our recent merger with Flashy and onboarding some really key executives there, and now partnering with Harry and having LIF as a key back-end blockchain infrastructure for us to be introducing to all the businesses that now Flashy Finance is going to be powering, as well as all the businesses in the GD portfolio, for us to be integrating into the LIF3 network. So
Thanks, Michael.
let's go.
And okay, so my friend Tatiana, she actually introduced me to Michael about back 20 years ago. It's 2020, just like very early on. So this is an amazing book called The Myth of Money. Apparently, she told me that I'm in this for like 10%, so I don't know. But Michael, thank you so much. Look forward to partnership.
Long road ahead.
Yes.
Long road ahead. It's
Yeah.
the beginning of a long journey.
It is.
And, it's going to be fun, if nothing else.
And don't have an exact date yet, but we are going to do a LIF developer conference. Probably in Abu Dhabi again. Maybe at Emirates House, I don't know yet. Super line. I mean, this is the big question. So this is who I am. Harry Yeh, Managing Director of Content Fintech Group, but also founder of LIF, the investor. Managed over $2 billion in assets, pre-Terra Luna, of course. Invested Bitcoin early on. Partner of Content Miami Conference and Develop Conference, based in Abu Dhabi, UAE, but now also Paraguay and Brazil, South America. And thank you all. However, we're not done yet. But this is a bathroom break time, so I think we need to set a timer for the next one. Don't worry, this was the longest part of the presentation. The fun stuff that's coming. I gotta give you guys kind of like important stuff. It's kind of like eating your vegetables before you get to the steak. So the steak's coming. Okay, so no, any questions?
How long is the break?
Huh?
How long is the bathroom break?
5 minutes. Is 5 minutes good? All right, good. So I think we can pause the live stream. Hey, can you pause the live stream, or should we just leave it on? Or it records the video, right? Okay, so let's stop it. Does it save the video or no?
Yeah.
Okay, save it. Perfect. All right, we'll be back in like 5 minutes.
I just need a reason.